Nexon games suffering from delayed game releases and sharp decline of their hits such as Blue Archive and the first Descendant. That's not good. That's really not good. Project RX is likely to be released after 2026, projection from industry experts. That was not what people expected. Blue Archive and First Descendants have seen a sharp decline in the number of users recently. That bodes very poorly for the game. Blue Archive, of course, is one of the most popular gacha games worldwide. It is also, interestingly enough, one of the few gacha games I've actually finished. And by finished, I mean finished as of like several months ago. I haven't played it in a few months. I did hit max level, or what at the very least was max level at the time of me playing. I believe it was like 88. So hearing that it had declined was kind of a shock for me, and I'm sure a shock for a lot of you. And I know some of you are going to be like, well, Blue Archive deserves it. You know, it appeals to a very certain demographic of player, and like, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I play games for their story, their gameplay, their characters, and I had fun. I thought the story was really well done. I thought the idle functionality was really good. What we're here to discuss is the decline of Nexon's games, the upcoming Project RX, and to see how they plan on overcoming this. Nexon Games CEO Park Young-hyun is expecting that this year's performance will be abysmal. Abysmal, not slightly lower, not down 2%, no, abysmal. Due to the fact that there are no new games to be released this year. None at all. They don't have a single gacha game, single player, multiplayer game coming at all in 2025. That is unreal. Even the growth of existing popular games has recently slowed down sharply. Not slightly, sharply. The number of users of the company's recent major hits, the subculture game Blue Archive and the looter shooter game First Descendant, is rapidly decreasing. The number of users for First Descendants and Blue Archive are rapidly decreasing. Not decreasing by small amounts due to, I don't know, a lack of content or other popular games taking up the time, the attention of players. No, but these are rapidly decreasing. That is alarming. It seems that new releases will not be possible until next year, 2026. In addition, with the increased workforce last year and the expected significant expenses such as labor costs, CEO Park is expected to face a management crisis. According to a comprehensive report from the game industry on the 3rd, CEO Park is expected to suffer from a double whammy of a hiatus in the releases and deteriorating performance of existing games this year. Once again, deteriorating performance of existing games. The company is developing 4 new games: massively multiplayer online role-playing game Project DX. This is an MMORPG. The open-world action role-playing game Dungeon Fighter Arad, which is essentially Genshin Impact with Dungeon Fighter online characters. I did a dedicated video on this, and I strongly urge you to go ahead and take a look at that if you're interested in learning more. The subculture game Project RX, which is essentially a spin-off or a sequel or an alternate version of Blue Archive. And the action RPG Project 2XTF. I've actually never heard of that. It was reported that Project DX will begin development in August 2021, Dungeon Fighter Arad in January 2023, Project RX in April 2023. However, specific information about all 3 games was not disclosed through trailer videos or written materials until October 2024. Nexon Games has been releasing new games every single year, and sometimes every 6 months to 2 years. But since it released the First Descendant in July 2024, the industry predicts that the next game will likely be released in early 2026. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume. So what was coming out in 2021? Project DX is the MMORPG. The MMORPG has been in development since 2021. MMOs typically take like 5-10 years to finish, so that's not the game releasing at the beginning of 2026, that's for sure. Oh Dong-hwan, a researcher at Samsung Security, said the effects of the release of the next games that Nexon Games is preparing, such as Dungeon Fighter Arad and Project DX, will not be seen until 2026, adding, accordingly, this year's performance will be determined by the effects of updates of existing games. Blue Archive and First Descendant, which have been the company's performance boosters, have recently seen a sharp decline in the number of users. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. According to market research firm Sensor Tower, right? Because that's so accurate. Blue Archive recorded sales of $100 million worldwide from January to October 2022. And sales in the same period in 2023 expected to increase 120% to $222 million. If that is in fact accurate, which, you know, the Sensor Tower is entirely speculative, but if that isn't, you know, even remotely accurate, then those are phenomenal numbers. An increase of double. However, this is where things probably take a turn for the worse. Sales have been on a downward trend since last year. According to US market research firm AppMagic, Blue Archive's sales ranking in Japan and China fell from 82nd in the game sector in 2023 to 103rd in 2024. The Korean and global sales ranking fell from 234th to 299th during the same period. So, I mean, we don't really have anything to compare that with. Like, what does that mean in terms of revenue comparatively to its first year? Is it going to be making 100 million? It doesn't need to make 220 million to be successful. If it makes, you know, 100, 120, 150 million, it's still doing much better than its launch year. This seems to be related to the fact that many of the existing staff at MX Studio, which developed Blue Archive, have left and been replaced by new staff. That's never good. That is never, ever good. Replacing the hardworking staff that helped bring your game to life with people that have absolutely no idea what the fuck they're doing does not reinforce faith or goodwill from your community. Based on the staff roles displayed in the game, the development team, which had 136 members in March 2023, has seen about 40 people. 40, that's almost an entire third, including 7 directors, almost an entire third of their workforce leave the company or move to different departments. I wonder why that is. Are they just unhappy with the state of the game, or was the company themselves shifting them around? In December 2024, the development team has increased to 144 people, including 46 new employees. In the process, the main story and new character updates, which are key elements of Blue Archive, have been somewhat delayed. Okay, I guess, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm glad that it's been a little while since I've played, several months. First, Descendant recorded a peak concurrent user of 264,000 on PC, and reportedly generated sales of approximately 200 billion won in just 2 months from July to August last year. However, despite the game's 2 major updates, the current number of concurrent users on Steam has decreased to around 12 to 18,000. Okay, that's, yeah, I understand now why people are calling it a dead game. When it's literally hitting 5% of its original concurrent playership. Sales in the fourth quarter of 2024 are also estimated to be around only 20 billion won. Their observations at CEO Park will overcome the current situation through personnel recruitment and organizational restructuring, or just release more hot waifus. He established IO headquarters, a subculture game development organization, in August 2024, took charge of RX Studio, which is developing MX Studio and Project RX. Currently, he's looking to hire 6 developers for MX Studio and 2 developers for RX Studio. In relation to First Descendant, he has been recruiting personnel in the form of continuous recruitment since October 14, 2024, to improve the quality of game services. The company is currently recruiting career positions in 85 sectors, including new game development personnel. However, the company's personnel expenses are expected to increase when they join, naturally. In fact, according to the company report for the third quarter of 2024, the number of company employees increased by 56 from the previous quarter to 1,380. During the same period, salaries, which account for more than half of operating expenses, increased by 20%. Okay, wow. No, that's actually good for the developers themselves. They deserve to be paid more. In the second quarter of 2024, the company recorded sales of 43 billion won and an operating loss of 8 billion won on a consolidated basis. The reason for the deficit was a 20% increase in operating expenses compared to the same period last year, and an increase in salary increases and welfare expenses due to the expansion of the workforce. Okay, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, yeah, it has seen a sharp decline. Yeah, there have been a lot less people playing it. Yeah, that you could probably attribute this to a number of different things, but they are working on several different games. The MMO Project DX, Dungeon Fighter Arad, Project RX, Project, and like they have numerous different games all coming. This is never good to see. Like, nobody wants to see their game suffering, nobody wants to see their game declining, but it happens to every single game. Genshin has been in decline for literally a year. Honkai Star Rail goes up and down. Zenless, Wuthering Waves, they both go up and down. Arknights, Nikki, they go up and down. Just because your game is in a decline right now doesn't mean it will be in a perpetual state of decline. It just means it is in decline right now. There is room for it to return, to go back and re-increase a re-incline of revenue. And I have no doubt Blue Archive will achieve that, because at the end of the day, despite all the memes about the kinds of players that play it, it has a phenomenal core story, a good cast of characters, and is a well-designed game. And to me, that makes the game good. Hey, Hey, where do you think you're going? I see what you're doing there. I see you navigating on over, scrolling on over to that X button. Don't you dare. What I need you to do is take a moment and click one of the videos that are about to appear as soon as I'm done talking. And trust me, you're gonna wanna.